Hey there! For my mom's journal in April, I thought I would be inspired by one of the trees that is quite iconic in Mexico City, which is where I was born. So to draw the tree, I'm going to use a technique that I haven't used since I was very, very young. But basically, I would tie together all the markers with a hair tie or any elastic that I had at hand, and then I would try to level all the tips together so that with one stroke every single marker would leave its print on the paper. So here I am doing just that, trying to put all the tips to the paper, and of course as you go you still have to be pressing one or another during the whole process, but this really makes things a lot more easy when you are trying to do the pointillism effect, which I thought would be perfect for this Jacaranda tree. And by the way, I tried to look for the name of this tree in English but couldn't find it, so if you know how this is called, please let me know in the comments below. So while I am drawing, I will tell you a little bit about the Jacaranda tree and how it arrived to Mexico. These trees can measure up to 65 feet in height, and their lilac flowers appear during spring and autumn. I recall having a couple of those in our garden. Actually, my mom told me that they were 4 and that my grandfather planted them. And whenever the flowers fell to the ground, it was like having a beautiful lilac carpet for decoration, kind of similar to the one of the cherry trees, but in a pastel violet shade. I even remember grabbing the flowers and pressing their ends to extract a drop of sweet nectar, which is of course the favorite of many insects and birds as well. And then we also had to be really careful because as the flowers decayed on the ground, they made it very slippery. I learned that this beautiful tree adapted to the city quite well because it is a subtropical species, so it has become a lovely symbol of Mexico City during spring, which is when the principal avenues dress up with the tree's splendor. I found out that the trees made their arrival in Mexico by the end of the 19th century, when Sanshiro Matsumoto came to Mexico looking for his father, Tatsugoro Matsumoto, who was the favorite outfielder of the Porfiriat. Between 1920 and 1924, both Japanese gardeners proposed to the president, Álvaro Obregón, to plant jacaranda trees on the main streets of the city. And this idea was quite attractive to the politician, so of course he gave his consent. The jacaranda is native to Brazil, so after bringing some trees, the Japanese gardeners executed a breeding plan in their nurseries, certain of their success since the climatic conditions of the city are perfect for the species. Till this day, we can see the fruit of their success when the trees bloom, painting the streets with their vibrant colors. I was so used to seeing them that now that I don't live there anymore, I wish that I would have appreciated them more. At least I can pay them tribute through the pages of my mom's journal with this colorful theme that suits the eyes and evokes spring on every page. the setup, I am using this very special washi tape from the washi tape shop. As you can see, it's a clear tape and it has printed on it the most beautiful like handmade drawings of these houses with flowers, and I just thought that it was the perfect addition to these spreads. For my mom's journal, I always like to go for a simpler approach, which is why I have always been using only markers, washi tape, stickers, and things that everybody has at home and they can like follow along without complicating any of the drawings or the techniques that I'm using here. So for this next spread, for example, I am going to use masking liquid, which is a really fun thing to do. As you can see, I am outlining circles with the letters of each of the days. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this liquid to block each of the letters. This can be a little bit tricky to work with, but always practice before using it. Like right here, I'm using a very small bamboo stick with a pointy end, which I can use to outline the letter. This takes a while to do, but it's definitely worth it, because what this liquid does is that it becomes like a very sticky polymer that will dry and it will block the paper beneath it, so that you can go over it with any type of ink. Here you see me making sure that it's completely dried, because if it isn't, then it can become a mess. But once that it's dry, I'm already using this marker all over it, which by the way, those markers are great for making dots. And once I am happy with the result, I can go on to remove the masking liquid with an eraser. And so it's a very nice way to just block the paper, and you can be carefree about it, you know, because if I tried to do it without the masking liquid, it's also doable, but it would take me longer, because I would have to be a lot more precise with where I put the dots so I won't go over the fonts. And so this has been one of my favorite things to do ever since I discovered the masking liquid, and removing it is like my favorite part. When you see the bright white paper reveal itself underneath it, I think it's just so satisfying. And usually you should be able to remove it just with your finger, but an eraser always makes the job a lot faster. And then all I have to do is add the rest of the numbers for this week, which might not be really visible in the camera, but on paper they are really there. I am almost done with these spreads. I just have one more to go, but I would like to leave this little bit of the setup just with the background music so that you can watch me finish this. And here's a final flip through of this simple yet very beautiful theme that I chose for my mom this month. I barely use violet or purple, but whenever I do, I try to make it come from nature because I think it's a very beautiful color to find in nature. So I hope that you enjoyed this setup. Let me know in the comments below if you already knew about this tree, or if you're in Mexico, enjoy them for me because I definitely miss seeing them through spring. Thank you for all your support, and as usual, thank you so much for watching.